Good morning, Bucknutters. It is Thursday, September 11th, 2014. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5. I am Dan Rubin. Today is going to be a recruiting-based show. We are joined, or will be joined, by Steve Wiltfong, Director of Recruiting from 24/7 Sports, to talk about A.J. Alexander's impending decision. We'll also touch on Matthew Burrell, Damian Harris, and Jordan Whitehead, here on the Bucknuts Morning 5.
As promised, Thursdays with Wiltfong, Steve Wiltfong, the recruiting guru extraordinaire from 24/7 Sports, joins us. He's accompanied by Dylan Wiltfong. If you hear some noise in the background, Steve is a proud new father, so we'll hopefully get Dylan on the record here. Steve, how are you doing this morning, brother?
Good morning.
Okay, here's what we'd like to do. We're going to talk about recruiting today, obviously with Steve on the line. I want to touch on one recruit who's making his decision on Friday and then kind of wrap up the final strings of the big visit weekend for Virginia Tech. Steve, A.J. Alexander, the H-back to some schools, strong safety to others, athlete out of Northern Virginia, Lake Braddock High School, is set to make his college decision public on Friday. He is down to Wisconsin and Ohio State. What is the latest vibe you're getting? It sounds like A.J. may be the kind of guy who's going to make the call kind of spur of the moment.
Yeah, I think that I'm still gathering intel. I think that there's plenty of reasons out there to see A.J. pick Wisconsin. I think Ohio State feels they have a shot to land A.J. on Friday. And regardless, it looks like A.J. is going to take visits regardless of who he chooses Friday. So Ohio State's expecting to get A.J. on campus at the end of September. He was in Columbus for Friday Night Lights, where he had a strong camp and solidified his offer from Urban Meyer and the staff. The nation's number 39 receiver, according to 24/7 Sports. I saw this young man at the Washington, D.C. Nike camp. Tremendous size, a really good athlete. He worked out at receiver that day. Ohio State likes him as an H-back. But this is a guy that could play several positions on the college level with his athleticism and physical potential. He's a guy that I would take on my football team without thinking twice, just with all the things that he could potentially bring to the table. And he's just a great young man off the field. Still digging into this one, Dan. Last night when I reported don't sleep on the Buckeyes, I was leaning towards Ohio State, but you know as well as I do, the intel, it starts flowing in fast. And right now, I still have not put in a crystal ball forecast for A.J. I will have one in by the end of the day, leading into his Friday announcement. Not sure. It wouldn't surprise me if you chose either school at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I do have some old connections in that area, and the real threat to Ohio State there is the fact that the Wisconsin recruiter, Chris Beatty, is from that area. His high school that he attended, Chantilly High School, is about 15 to 20 minutes from Lake Braddock. He's always done a great job recruiting in that area. And you're right on A.J., tremendous athlete, also a standout basketball player for an excellent basketball team in that area. And he's come out of a pro-style offense. A lot of people may remember Caleb Henderson as the quarterback at North Carolina. That was his quarterback last year. So A.J. should be ready to impress the second he hits campus. I agree, it's a big recruit. I also agree that from what we're hearing, it's still up in the air. All right, I want to wrap up, kind of look back on the Virginia Tech guys who are here. Go ahead, Steve. Go ahead.
Dan, one more thing on A.J. At Friday Night Lights, you looked at, I could see people in the crowd, and even myself and Alex Gleitman, you could see the amazement of how big Ohio State's freshmen were and how big those guys looked heading into the season. A.J. Alexander is going to arrive to whichever school he chooses as a grown-ass man. He'll fit right in physically with the upperclassmen on the team.
Yeah, he's a legit 6'3", pushing 6'4". He does really fit that hybrid spot perfectly. So if this works out for Ohio State, they should be extremely pleased. Like I said, we want to touch on some of the guys and kind of wrap up the final entanglements or strings from the Virginia Tech visit. Matthew Burrell, what's your latest?
Well, Ryan Bartow, 24/7 Sports National Insider, was in to see the nation's number 5 offensive guard, according to the 24/7 Sports composite yesterday. And Burrell told Ryan that Ohio State's out in front right now for him, and that is because he has been to Ohio State 3 times, and he's very close with the staff. You can tell that Matthew Burrell really likes Urban Meyer and looks at the opportunity to play for Urban Meyer as something he's not taken lightly. It's an honor for him to have a scholarship from Coach Meyer, and he's been on Ohio State's campus 3 times. Chase Ferris has been his guy all 3 times. Also has clicked with Jalen Holmes and feels he could really fit in with the culture of the program, likes the offense. He definitely sees an opportunity to make an early impact at Ohio State. I think he knows he'll have to compete to play anywhere, but I think when he looks at his finalists, he may see an opportunity at Ohio State to play earlier than some other places. But Florida State, they're right there for him. People around Matt think that he's ultimately going to end up in the Sunshine State, so we'll see. Alabama, Tennessee, LSU, Georgia, those are schools he's looking at. And then Penn State, they're going to get him up there for the whiteout. So a long way to go with Matthew Burrell, but Ohio State, they're in the lead right now, and they'll keep pushing. And he'll have in-homes. Urban Meyer will eventually be out there. So he'll have a chance to close the deal later in the process. Decision and nowhere before January.
Yeah. Probably didn't hurt the cause that Burrell watched that performance by Ohio State's offensive line. He probably thought he could have stepped in for the second half. Okay, Damian Harris. Here's the thing with Harris. There was a time, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, I want to say about 6 months ago, where it seemed like a foregone conclusion this guy was going to be part of the class. I don't feel the same recruiting momentum right now. That could be a bad read by me, but where do the Buckeyes stand with Harris, and are they losing their grip on him if they ever had one?
Well, Harris was always planning to go through the entire process, take his official visits, and decide late because he's already decommitted once. He does not want to put himself in a position for a second decommitment. So this was always his plan. So even though there was a lot of excitement this summer with Ohio State being the perceived team to beat, I certainly reported that, and I still think Ohio State's the team to beat. Now, I think Kentucky's a legitimate challenger. Now, he's going to take official visits to Alabama, Florida, and Texas A&M, and there's no question he's going to have a great time at those schools. But will Damian Harris attend one of those schools right now? I don't think he will. I still think it's an Ohio State-Kentucky battle. We'll see what happens with those official visits. Anything can happen when you take a trip to see those 3 programs. But right now, you're still looking at Ohio State. You're still looking at Kentucky. So from there, where does Damian see the best opportunity to be a difference maker? Kentucky, they're playing well right now, but we'll see how they block defensive lines when they get in the SEC play. I know Damian's going to be looking very closely at that. And if he sees that the Kentucky offensive line is improving, I think that certainly improves Kentucky's chances with the nation's number 1 ranked running back, according to the 24/7 Sports composite. But I still like Ohio State. I have not heard anything different to make me think that Ohio State is not the leader for Damian Harris right now.
Good to know. All right, let's finish it off. This guy's name hasn't come up quite as much. His recruitment hasn't been as high profile, but I know he's a guy the Buckeyes really want. Jordan Whitehead, the defensive back out of Monica Central Valley. What's the latest?
Well, he was on campus this past weekend, had another good visit. He's been to Ohio State many times, so it was just another opportunity for him to get around the people on campus and continue to build that strong relationship. He's got some strong ties to Columbus right now, Jordan does, and Ohio State's still my pick for him. He's going to take his official visits to West Virginia and Penn State later this month and then decide on October 3rd. So he's still evaluating and looking into things, but Ohio State, it's another case where with Damian Harris, I haven't heard anything to make me believe that Jordan's going anywhere other than Ohio State. So that remains my 24/7 Sports crystal ball forecast at this point.
Listen to that, people. Optimism on Bucknuts. It's a wonderful thing. We thank Steve Wiltfong for joining us. We thank Dylan Wiltfong for not acting up during our brief talk here.
We appreciate it. Both of us do.
Have a great day, Bucknutters.